Welcome to KetoMealsAndRecipes.com. Today is a very special day. Keto Meals and Recipes is celebrating its first birthday. And to celebrate, I have made this 2018 Instagram trending number cake. And as are all our recipes, this cake is keto, sugar-free, gluten-free, and delicious for all of us to enjoy whether we are on keto or non-keto diets. The macronutrient ratio is for the fully decorated cake as shown here and described in the written recipe. The ratio is 4.7 to 1 with 10.1 grams of total carbs, 4.9 grams of dietary fiber, and 5.2 grams of net carbs. This cake is a compilation of several recipes I have already made videos for, and one I will refer you to in a moment. The making of this cake has three basic parts. For step 1, we first need to make the cookie dough and number cutout. Begin by making a full batch of the sugar cookie dough from my sugar cookie recipe. The link will be provided in the description below. Please follow the sugar cookie instructions very carefully and you'll have a very successful result. After you have prepared the dough, place the dough onto a parchment-lined baking sheet and then cover with a second sheet of parchment. Here I'm showing you how I use 2 painter sticks as my guide to keep the thickness consistent as I roll the dough. After rolling out the dough, I place the tray into the refrigerator to chill the dough completely. This may take several hours, but for best results, I often leave the dough in the refrigerator to chill overnight. I can't stress enough how important it is that the dough is very cold. The dough will be much easier for you to work with and to make your cutouts. I'd also like to mention that this amount of dough will make 3 single number layers. While your dough is chilling, make the number template, which you will be using to cut out the cookie shape for your number cake. This isn't a very large cake. I used an 8 by 10 piece of paper to make my template, and then I traced the number onto a piece of cardboard and cut out the number. I like this kind of template because I find it much easier to use. Do use a stiffer piece of cardboard because you will need it for 2 to 3 cutouts. When I've taken my dough out of the refrigerator, I remove the top parchment paper, place the number template on top, and using a sharp knife I trace and cut out the number. Then I removed all the scrap cookie dough from the perimeter. Save this dough because you're going to reuse it to make your second and third layer. As you're working with the cookie dough, if it becomes too soft, roll it out as you did before and place back in the refrigerator to chill for an hour or 2. Repeat until you have cut out all the numbers for each of the layers that you want to make. I also made some cookie hearts. Then place them all into the refrigerator for a couple hours. It may take several hours for your cookie dough to get really cold, but it's really important that it does. Otherwise, the cookie dough will puff up and expand when baked. A few minutes before you're ready to bake, preheat your oven to 150 degrees Celsius or 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Place in the middle position of your oven and bake for about 10 minutes until you notice the cookie has become a very pale yellow and the cookie edges have started to become a very light golden color. Then immediately remove the cookie sheet from the oven and place on the counter. Leave the cookies in the baking tray. When the cookies are completely cooled, slide the parchment paper with the numbered cookies onto your cooling rack and then leave your cookies to air dry overnight. Step 2 is to make the mascarpone cream frosting. I make this on the day that I'm going to decorate the cake. It only takes 3 ingredients to make this delicious cream frosting. Begin by placing the mascarpone cream, the heavy whipping cream, and the sweetener into the mixing bowl. Then start whipping at low speed until the ingredients form a smooth, lump-free consistency. Then increase the speed to high and whip to the stiff peak stage. When you're done, cover the bowl with cling wrap and put into the refrigerator until you need it. To decorate the top, you can choose your favorite fruit and optional flowers for garnishing. However, you will have to prepare your fruit ahead of time and use only blemish-free and fresh fruit. For the strawberries, I cut them first lengthwise into even thicknesses. I then remove the best 6 to 8 pieces and set those aside. I then cube the rest of the strawberries and set them aside. I weigh out the best looking blackberries. An optional part of the garnishing of this trending cake is to use very small flowers such as these small roses. Here I have chosen to use 3 white bud roses. Now the final step, to assemble the cake. Place your first number cookie base onto your serving platter. Into a piping bag, I placed a size 2A tip, but if you don't have that, just cut a wide enough opening to make sure that your dollops of cream are the right size. Place 1/3 of the mascarpone cream frosting into your piping bag, and starting at either the top or the bottom of your number, squeeze out the mascarpone frosting. You want your dollops of mascarpone cream frosting to be about 2.5 centimeters or 1 inch in height. As you're squeezing, try to make sure all your mounds of frosting are the same size. This will give you the best aesthetic results and will also make sure that your next cookie layer is level. Gently, applying absolutely no pressure, carefully place the second number cookie on top of the cream. Repeat making the cream dollops over the surface of the entire second layer, and then place the third layer of cookie on top. And repeat this entire step with the third layer of cookie. How you garnish is completely up to you, but here's what I did for this cake. First, I distributed the cubed strawberries over the entire center of the cake, placing the cubed strawberries mostly between the dollops of cream and then very gently a few on top, keeping a wide and even border all the way around. After deciding what I use as my focal feature, for this cake I'm using the 3 small cookie hearts I made. Then I positioned the tips of the baby breath flowers to make the top and bottom border where I'm going to place the hearts. After positioning the hearts in place, I added a bit more baby's breath just to fill it out a bit. Next, you can position the strawberry wedges or the flowers. To position and hold the flower in place, I used a plastic straw, cut it so that it's just a little bit shorter than the cake, and inserted the straw into the cake at a slight diagonal, and then I cut the flower, leaving about 1.5 inch stem. This inserted into the straw and stayed in place very nicely. One of the last things I did is I placed the blackberries in a position to be a contrast to the white flowers. I thought this looked really nice. And if you want, position a bit more baby's breath around the roses. Before serving this cake, you have to place it back into the refrigerator for about an hour. This is needed because by now the mascarpone cream frosting has probably softened up and you need to chill it before serving. I've had a lot of fun making this cake. I find this cake to be really beautiful and really wanted to share it on the special occasion. I hope that you too try this cake. To everyone who has visited Keto Meals and Recipes over this past year, and especially for everyone who has been so kind and subscribed, this cake is for you. Enjoy. See you next time, and thank you for watching.